Welcome to a special bonus edition of our NHL 19 Quebec Nordiques franchise mode. In this episode, we're going to take a look at how our viewer-created players are doing after the first year in the NHL series. Now, these are players created by loyal viewers to our Twitch stream. If you want to create a player for our custom roster and see them show up in future franchise modes, be sure to check us out on Twitch. All right, we're going to start off by taking a look at some of these different teams to see where some of our viewer-created players landed and how they're doing this year. We're going to start off with Bakersfield. Now, in Bakersfield, we've got Steve Kahn right here. Steve Kahn ended up with 20 goals, 32 assists, and 52 overall points for the season. Not a bad season down there in the AHL. Pretty high up there on his team, so it looks like he's going to do just fine next year. Again, a lot of the scouting that you're going to see here is not going to be 4-bar scouting, which means their overall is not going to be something that is reliable. We're not even going to bother looking at that anymore because we just don't scout the AHL since there really is no need for us to do so, since we can't draft from that position, and we're only going to be bringing in players on our original team from our own drafting. So I'm not overly concerned right now. We're already scouting the NHL in case we need to pick anybody up in free agency. So that's kind of where we're going to figure that stuff out. But that is why we're not going to bother looking at their overalls right now. We just want to look at how they did this year and see if there is anything interesting about them. Right now, 71 penalty minutes. That's a little less than penalty minute a game, so not too bad. 217 shots, only a 9.2 shooting percentage. Looks like he was pretty active on the power play. Played 14 and a half minutes, so that's third line time. Not bad. 50% face-off wins there. Not that many face-offs to take. Decent amount of hits. Not a large amount of hits, but he had a few. Some blocks. And definitely better takeaways than giveaways. That's always good. He had 11 fights there for Steve Kahn in his rookie year down there as a 19-year-old in the AHL in Bakersfield. All right, next up. Whoops, that's not the button we want to hit. There we go. Next up is going to be Belleville. The Belleville Senators have someone on their team we're going to take a look at as well. Scroll down here, try to find them. There he is. Johnny Malise. Johnny played 24 games this year, just 24 games. He is 18 years old. He had 3 points on 3 assists. He was a -2. Ended up with 27 penalty minutes on 51 shots. Let's see, how did he do back here? 12.55, so he's playing fourth line minutes. 6 hits, 20 blocks. Giveaways, takeaways. Looks like he could improve a little bit there, and he had 5 fights over those few games. So 5 fights in how many games was it? 24? Okay, so that's a fight every 5 games. So it looks like Johnny's out there throwing some fists when he has to. Again, rookie year down there in the AHL. We'll see how he continues to grow as time goes on, but definitely need to see him playing more games. Only 24 games played. We'd like to see him with more. We'll have to take a look and see if Belleville chooses to play him more next season. All right, next up, we're going to go all the way down to the Bridgeport Sound Tigers. On Bridgeport, we've got 2 players we're keeping an eye on. Scroll down to get to them. And that would be Rob Hare. Got a defenseman here. 11 points, 5 goals, 6 assists on 82 games. He was a -12. Had 74 penalty minutes on 111 shots. And let's see here. He was playing third pairing. Looks like he was playing third pairing on the defenseman there. See anything special to look at here? 29 hits. Not that many hits, really, but a ton of blocks. He is selling out to block shots right there. That is insane. We'll see if that hit number changes next year, but that's a high amount of blocks for somebody who's not throwing the body that much. 5'8". Yeah, he's 5'8". He's not going to throw the body very often because he's so small, but dang, is he going to get down in front of the puck. Boy, oh boy. 57 giveaways to 25 takeaways, and he had 14 fights in the 82 games he played this year. All right, so let's take a look at Rob Hare. And then right below him, Savia Rolowski. Savia only played 16 games this year. He's a 19-year-old, 5'7". He has 2 points, 31 shots. Not sure why he only played 16 games. He only had 8 minutes and 48 seconds on ice, so he was definitely playing fourth line minutes. Okay, so definitely need to see him play some more next year, hopefully. 6 hits, 1 block, 9 giveaways to 5 takeaways. No fights for him. All right, so Rolowski has a long way to go if he's going to make the NHL. 16 games on a season is not going to be very good. We definitely want to make sure we see him playing more games in the future. All right, next up, we're going to go down to Charlotte. On Charlotte, we're looking at Howard. Tim Howard, 6'9", 290-pound left winger. He has 39 points on the year, 21 goals, 18 assists, for a positive 7 overall at the end of the year. He played 79 games, which means he missed a couple games there, being hurt. He had 180 shots and shot 11%, over 11% there for his shooting percentage. No power play stuff, so he played 12:55. That looks like somewhere between fourth and third line minutes. So possible he could have been playing on the penalty kill. It is possible. Let's see. He had 60% face-offs on a very, very few number of times he was needed to step in. 38 hits to 10 blocks. Doesn't block very much. And giveaways and takeaways aren't bad for someone who is in their very first year. So not bad. And no fights for Tim Howard. So Tim Howard not fighting in the AHL right now. 79 games played. Not bad. Not bad at all. Next up, we're going to Cleveland. Down here on Cleveland, we have My House. My House, 82 games. He had 16 goals, 21 assists for 37 total points. He was a -9. He had 30 penalty minutes on 218 shots. He only shot 7.3%. That percentage will go up as time goes on. Remember, he is 20, so he is he's getting a little bit old. Be very interesting to see how he turns out. It looks like he was playing on the power play this year, so gets a little extra ice time there. 6 power play points, 2 of them are goals, so 5 assists on the power play. He's playing 14-15, so you're looking at third line minutes with maybe a little bit of extra for the power play. Let's see, how did he do on his faceoffs? Not bad on the few number of faceoffs he needed to take. 42 hits, 18 blocks, 38 giveaways to 35 takeaways. Giveaways to takeaways are fine. 2 fights on the season for My House. So 20-year-old My House is looking like he is trying to get going. We'll see how he does next season, if we'll see him up or not. Not sure. Not sure at all. Okay, after Cleveland, we're looking at Hartford. We're going to drop all the way down to Hartford. There we go. Down here in Hartford, Michael Caine. Michael Caine had 21 goals, 21 assists for a total of 42 points. He was a +4 player. He had 41 penalty minutes and 215 shots, shot just under 10%. He had 2 game-winning goals and 1 power play point, which happened to be a power play goal. Not sure if he just simply was slotted in one night on the power play or what, but it looks like that was the issue. He had 1 shorthanded goal, so out there on the penalty kill, and 3 shorthanded points. So he's definitely got some extra time on ice. 14:47, looks like he's probably a third-line player with just a little bit of extra for those, or even a fourth-line player with a little bit of extra for those special teams. 44 total percent in his face-off wins. A few more face-offs than others, but not a tremendous amount. Definitely not a center. As a left winger, he's stepping in, but not bad, not bad. 67 hits to 27 blocks. That's a decent amount of hits for a guy that of his age. 51 giveaways to 43 takeaways. Not awful. And then 3 fights on the year for Michael Caine. Now, the other person we're going to take a look at here on the Wolfpack is not a skater. He is a goalie. I'm going to drop down here. Fickelstein. Fickelstein played 29 games for the Wolfpack this year. He had 14 wins, 10 losses. He had 3 shutouts as an 18-year-old. Save percentage was a .921 with a .218 goals against. Not awful. He let in 57 total goals this year on those, what was it, 26 games? Is that what I said? 29 games. So 57 goals on 29 games. You know, not bad, not bad. All right, so there you go. There's the goalie, Fickelstein, trying to get going there on the Wolfpack. All right, after Hartford, we're going to go ahead and take a look at Laval. The Laval Rockets. All right, Sid Levy on the Laval Rockets is doing absolutely fantastic. 6'4", 195, 18-year-old. He's a left winger out there with 36 goals, 27 assists, 22+ points. This guy had a great year. 26 penalty minutes on 293 shots. He was shooting 12.3%. And here's the best part. He was a power play machine. He had 7 power play goals. The other 9 power play points were all assists. He was absolutely tearing it up out there on the extra teams. He just happened to be paired up with some really good guys. Played 16-21. He's playing third-line minutes with a little bit extra for the extra teams. When he had to step in, when he had to step in for the faceoffs, he was 50%. That's not bad. Had 50 hits, 19 blocks, 40 giveaways to 42 takeaways, and only 2 fights on the year. Great year for Sidney Levy. We'll hopefully see him up in the NHL next year. No guarantees, though. No guarantees. Never is a guarantee. Next up, the Lehigh Valley Phantoms. On Lehigh Valley, we're going to go all the way down. Big C down here. Big C put up 38 points this year, 15 goals, 23 assists. He had a plus 21 year. That's also another great year. Looks like Lehigh had an absolutely fantastic year. Everybody was a plus player on this team. This team just lit it up. Holy cow, look at that. Yeah, pretty much everybody on that team was a plus player. He had 21 penalty minutes on 203 shots. He shot only 7%. Just over 7% shooting. If he shot 10%, he would have had 20 goals. So we're talking about a difference of 5 goals there just because he shot, so poorly. But as he grows, he's 19 years old. As he gets better, a little bit older, that accuracy goes up. We're going to see a lot more goals from Big C. That's for sure. He had 2 game winners. Only 13.54 on the ice. He had about a 51% face-off percentage when he had to step in. 35 hits to 20 blocks with 41 giveaways to only 44 takeaways. That's great. That's actually a really good positive ratio. And no fights for the Big C. All right, that's it for Lehigh. Next up, we have Ontario. Dropping all the way down to Ontario so we can take a look at Scramble. Scramble had a great year, 37 points, 18 goals, 19 assists. He was a plus player as well with a plus 4. Only 38 penalty minutes for him, 194 goals, just under a 10% shooting percentage, and 6 game-winning goals. He talk about clutch. Absolute clutch for that AHL team. He had 3 power play points. One of them were a goal. Let's see, anything else interesting? 13.46 on ice, so right around that fourth or third line. It looks like it's fourth line with extra time for the power play. Face-off percentage there. Hits to blocks. We had 46 hits, 25 blocks. 46 to 41 in giveaways to takeaways. And 2 fights for Scramble down there in Ontario. Okay, so Ontario's out of the way. Next up, we've got Rockford. The Rockford Ice Hogs. All right, we're going to scroll all the way down here to Mr. Goon. Mr. Goon had a 28-point season. He had 14 goals, 14 assists for a plus 10 season. Not bad at all. At 102 penalty minutes. That's definitely a lot of penalty minutes. Mr. Goon's living up to his name, apparently. 155 shots and a 9% shooting percentage. 4 game-winning goals. And if we take a quick look down here deeper in, he played 11 minutes per game. At 11 minutes per game and 102 penalty minutes, that is saying something right there. Definitely a fourth-line guy. Scroll all the way over. He had 60 hits, 27 blocks, 40 giveaways to 28 takeaways, and 18 fights. Mr. Goon throwing them bones. So out there, Mr. Goon living up to his name indeed. All right, after Rockford, we're going to go to Springfield. See if I can get Springfield to pop up here. There we go. In Springfield, we're going to scroll down here to Joe Bobo. Defenseman Joe Bobo put up 33 points this year. 5 goals, 28 assists. That's a nice solid amount for a defenseman. He was a -9, though. He had 110 penalty minutes, and he's probably going to be looking at roughly the same amount of fights, I think, as the last guy there, Mr. Goon. 135 shots for a 3.7% shooting average. He had 2 power play points, both of them assists. He was on the ice for 1957, so you're looking at could potentially be second pairing with extra time for the penalty kill, or that's what it probably is. There as a defenseman, I think top line defenseman is going to be upwards towards 22, 25. So yeah, that makes sense that Joe Bobo would be the second pairing. All right, 38 hits, 132 blocks. This guy's getting down on the ice too. Not bad. Giveaways to takeaways, 71 giveaways to 27 takeaways. That definitely needs to be worked on, and 20 fights for Joe Bobo. Joe Bobo definitely out there, shaking things up. 20 of the 82 games, a quarter of the games he played in, had himself a fight. That's just the way Joe Bobo rolls. That is what happens when you get yourself an enforcer. All right, next up is Texas. All the way down to Texas we go. We're going to take a look down here at the bottom. There he is. Philip McMuffin only played 18 games this year. Keep in mind, 18 games. In those 18 games, he had 16 points, 11 goals, 5 assists. It was a -1, ended up with 2 penalty minutes and 63 overall shots for a shooting percentage of 17.5. This guy is an absolute sick goal scorer. No idea at all why he only played 18 games. Just don't know. Game-winning goals, he had 3 of them. Played on the power play. He had 7 power play points. 5 of those 7 were goals. So that's where a lot of his goals are coming from on the power play. Definitely finds ways to get himself open and get that goal, get that puck in the back of the net. Played 15 minutes, 24 seconds, so pretty solid third line time there with a little bit extra for power play. Let's see here, face-offs. He had a decent amount of face-offs filling in, it looks like, or at least down there on the third line. 53%, not bad for a draw percentage. 12 hits to 5 blocks. Doesn't do a whole lot of hitting or blocking. He's very much an offensive player. Doesn't like to get down and dirty. But he does have 9 giveaways to 7 takeaways. And again, this is only on, 16? No, it was 18 total games. So again, 18 games, 12 hits. I mean, that's almost a hit a game. Almost. And no fights. No fights for McMuffin. So McMuffin had a great season for the number of games he played. Hopefully he'll get a chance to play some more games next season. We'll have to keep an eye on that and see what happened there. Next up, Toronto. Toronto's going to go ahead and play with Just a Gamer. He only played 60 games, so we're seeing that these guys aren't playing full seasons in some cases. This guy was short by about 12. He had 15 goals, 12 assists in those 60 games for a total of 27 points. So it's a point just about every other game. 4 penalty minutes. He was an even player with 193 shots, shot 7.8. Again, as their accuracy goes up, that percentage goes up. We start seeing 10%. This guy's looking at 19, 20 goals a game in 60 games. So that's not bad once he gets going. Power play points. He had 7 power play points. 3 of them were goals. The other 4 were assists. Played about 14:43, so you're looking at fourth line time plus maybe a little extra for power play or third line, and just the third line was never played. I mean, that's also a possibility, but I'm leaning more towards either a fourth line or a fourth line that played a lot and got extra, or a third line that never played and got just a touch extra with the power play. Face-offs won versus face-offs taken. Left wing fill-in guy, 52%. That's not bad. 33 hits to 17 blocks. 20 giveaways to 36 takeaways. That's a great ratio right there. That's what you really want to see in a forward. And no fights for Just a Gamer. All right, after Toronto, we've got 2 left. Tucson. Minh Nguyen, 57 points, leads his AHL team in goal scoring and in points in total. Looks like 32 goals, 25 assists. He was a +8 player with 22 penalty minutes. Very different style of player than we have come to expect in the past in our previous Minh Nguyen incantations, where he was a fighter much more often. This one, not so much. Only 22 penalty minutes, so no significant number of fights, most likely. 298 shots, which is a great amount of shots for someone like him. I believe he is a sniper, if I recall correctly. So we like to see that high number of shots. He was a 10% shooting percentage. He had a total of 5 game-winning goals, so a great amount of those. 10 power play points, of which 4 of them were goals, so not bad at all there either. And if we take a look, 17 minutes on ice, so that's a solid second-line player right there with a little extra for the power play. Yep, face-offs taken. He is about a 50% fill-in guy, so that's pretty decent. He had 64 hits on 15 blocks, so he likes to throw the body out there a little bit compared to some of his teammates. Not quite as much when you look at someone like Chabot, who put up 200 hits. Jeez, look at that. It's a lot of hitting. That is a lot of hitting. 47 giveaways to 58 takeaways. That is a nice ratio right there. And no fights for Minh Nguyen in Tucson. All right, one last one to look at, and that is Utica. Utica and Nickel, first female player to play professional hockey for the NHL. Right now she's down in the AHL. She put up 38 points this year, 22 goals, 16 assists. Was a -11 on that particular line or on that team, but that's not the end of the world. 38 total penalty minutes also. Cut back significantly on the number of fights that she ran into. 273 total shots for an 8.1 shooting percentage. You know, they get that number up to 10%, and you're looking at 27 goals. So 27, 30 goals out of Robin Nickel a year would be pretty good. 4 game winners. It was also on the power play. She had 14 points on the power play. 6 of those 14 were going to be goals. The other 8 assists. Let's take a look here. Yep, 15. So she's definitely playing third line or even fourth line with some heavy extra teams minutes. So something to look at. See if she plays down there again. And did she play all season long? Yes, she did. All right, so an 82-game season for her. Not bad, not bad. 69 hits, 17 assists. 56 to 48. Could definitely use a little bit of work on a giveaway takeaway ratio, but that's not the end of the world. And it looks like 4 fights for Robin over the course of the season to get to that 38 penalty minute mark. So 4 fights is 20. The other 18 come from infractions. So interesting look at the AHL and all of the viewer created players that made it into the franchise mode. We will be keeping an eye on these players as we go along, seeing when they end up in the NHL, so we can start looking for them and possibly start simming against specific teams and watching those games play out so you can see those viewer-created players popping up a little bit more in our franchise mode. And so that is going to do it for our special edition look at where the team finished up, or where not the team, but where all of the viewer-created players finished up after year number 1. All of them playing in the AHL in the opening season. Many of them looking like they will be playing down there again next year, but some of them could have the potential of breaking into the NHL and the lines that these NHL teams that have selected them have available. Just have to boil it down, see what happens, and keep an eye on how they progress as time goes on. All right, guys, that'll do it for this special edition of our NHL 19 Quebec Nordiques franchise mode, with another episode in just a little while. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you soon.